This is Windows and it's something else, bro. I'm using Windows for a while now and it's freaking bad. I can't lie. One day I was scrolling YouTube shorts and suddenly my laptop got hacked. Literally, it wasn't even the first time. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the full story how I went from Windows to Linux back to Windows and why I finally stopped distro hopping. And by the end of this video, I promise you're gonna know exactly what to do before you ever touch a Linux distro. Because I learned the hard way so you don't have to. Okay, when I get my first laptop, my cousin gave it to me actually. It had Windows 10 and it was so slow. I had to wait about 5 minutes to wake up and pretty much was my daily driver for a while. I was kind of person enthusiast about programming. I used to love making these types of projects. It was amazing back then. I used to say like, oh bro, look at this UI, it's sick. Literally, I just used to copy what he's typing. I remember when I saw VS Code icon themes first time from a YouTuber that showing me how to install React app. I deleted twice my VS Code to make it like him. So one day I was on YouTube. You know, YouTube recommends random stuff. I came across a video about Linux. I've never heard Linux before. I was in school at that time. So my first Linux distro I installed my laptop was Zorin OS. I love this distro. It's kind of like Windows. I used it quite a lot. It was better than Windows. But what I dislike was it wasn't polished like Windows and Mac. It felt a bit unpolished. Fast forward a year later, I joined an institute. They required Windows for the software we used, and that was kind of sad. For me, I'm using Linux for a month, so I had to install Windows. This is where I learned about Adobe softwares like Photoshop and Premiere Pro. Long story short, I bought my first laptop, HP ProBook, 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of SSD. And I graduated from the institute. So the new laptop came with Windows 11. So I installed Deepin. It was an amazing distro. I used this distro about couple of weeks, I guess. But it had one major issue. First of all, it was polished unlike Zorin OS on my previous laptop, but it was slow and heavy on UI animations. Weeks later, I came back to Zorin Core OS. After using a while, I saw Pop OS. It was polished OS. It has own environment called Cosmic. It was like, oh, this is my Linux, bro. Eventually, I installed Pub OS, and honestly, I used this distro quite a lot. About 6 months, I guess. So at this point, I was on Pub OS. I get this idea of starting YouTube channel. But I don't know much about Linux video editing softwares like KDLive and GIMP. But I do know Photoshop and Premiere Pro. And that's why when it hit me, like all the apps I actually depend on Photoshop and Premiere Pro, they're all Windows. And yeah, you can record on Linux, like you can get crispy video on Linux, but for me, for what I do, it just made more sense to go back to Windows. And that's literally why I am here now. And look, I don't hate Linux. I actually love Linux, and honestly, I might go back in the future. Who knows? But right now, this is what works for me. But if you're thinking about switching distros or going to Linux, let me give you a piece of advice. Before you do anything, figure out what do you actually do. Like, what's your environment? Are you a programmer? Are you a YouTuber? Are you just using it for browsing and casual stuff? Because if you're a programmer, Linux is genuinely amazing. If you make videos or do design work, You gotta think about it. Like, yeah, there's Gideon Life, there is Gimp, and apps like that, and they're actually good. But it depends on what you need. Settle that first, then pick your distro. Don't do what I did. I just hopped around forever without knowing why. And that's for today's video. If you made it here, thanks for watching. And I have surprise for you.